Hello again, this is Ken Turner from Milford, Ohio, and I just want to come to you today. I'm going to talk about Donald Trump. And I did a prophetic parallel of Donald Trump and King Nebuchadnezzar back in April 18th, 2024, and it's on YouTube channel if you'd like to look at it. It's a parallel between the biblical narrative of King Nebuchadnezzar, his arrogance and subsequent humility, and it's recorded in Daniel chapter 4, and that's where I got my biblical from the prophetic word that God gave me about the political trajectory of former President Donald Trump, which now has been elected, going back into office. And we'll talk about this a little bit. You know, Daniel chapter 4 here, he says, "My Lord, may the dream be for those who hate you and its interpretation for the enemies." In verse 22, he says, "It is you, O King, who have grown and become strong. Your greatness has grown and reached the heaven, your dominions to the ends of the earth." And here it says, verse 23, "And because the king saw a watcher, a holy one, coming down from heaven and saying, 'Chop down the tree and destroy it, but leave the stump of its roots in the earth, bound with a band of iron and bronze in the tender grass of the field. Let them be wet with the dew of heaven, let the portion be with the beast of the field till 7 periods of time pass over." And Daniel goes into this interpretation. I talked about Donald Trump. I talked about all the things that Donald Trump went through because of his arrogance in his first run as president in 2016. And then there was also the assassination attempts, which I did not expect. I never in my life believed it would happen, but it did. And here we have this parallel with King Nebuchadnezzar, because King Nebuchadnezzar, he got to the point of his arrogance in the same way Donald Trump did in his first time as being president, that he was so arrogant that he built this thing. And it says, "Is not this great Babylon, which I have built by my mighty power as a royal residence for the glory of my majesty?" It says, "As the word left his mouth, O King Nebuchadnezzar, to you it is spoken, the kingdom has departed from you." And that is what happened to Donald Trump. He was pushed out of office. He did not get reelected back in 2020. He was viciously attacked. All these things happened to him during this time period. He was driven basically from politics, and he was attacked, and he was attacked. He was treated worse than a beast in the field, and he was driven away. And now I have in my notes here, on April 25th, Nebuchadnezzar was restored, and Donald Trump will be restored in 2024. And in verse 4, chapter 4, it says, "At the end of days, I, Nebuchadnezzar, lifted up my eyes to heaven, and my reason returned to me, and I blessed the Most High, and praised and honored him who lives forever." Donald Trump, I truly believe, whether he's saved or not, I'm leaving that up to God. But Donald Trump, I truly believe that day in his life, he had time in his life during this period, that he came to the understanding that God is God and he's still on his throne. And he has a new respect, I believe, for God. And he has been much more respectful of people. When Donald Trump came to that place, his reason returned to him. And God restored him as the president of the United States. God did that. God protected his life during the assassination attempts. And Donald Trump, you can watch his speeches, you can watch what he says. He actually thanks God. He believes that it was a divine intervention. And I truly believe that God restored him. And it says in verse 36 here, chapter 4, "And I was established in my kingdom, and still more greatness was added to me." And I believe that. I believe that God's hand is upon Donald Trump. Now, I also believe that part of this prophecy that went forth was all these things, this wilderness experience that Nebuchadnezzar experienced and Donald Trump experienced, I believe our nation experienced also. I believe that these demonic attacks that came against our nation and all this ungodly laws and things that were put into place and all this sinful and sexual twisted stuff that's going on now. This was brought forth by the enemy. And I truly believe Donald Trump is not our Savior. Donald Trump is not Jesus. Like I said, I don't even know if he's a Christian, but I know for a fact that God is using Donald Trump to give America the opportunity to come back to God. God sees the persecution. He sees the things that's going on against the innocent people in our nation, children especially. They're being mutilated because of this transgender stuff that's going on today. That's come upon our nation. That because someone says, oh, I'm a woman today, even though they're a biological man, there's something wrong with that. We used to call things like that a mental illness. We used to actually send people for help. What is going on? But here we have this parallel of Donald Trump being brought back into a place that he can work by the hand of God. I believe the hand of God's on him. And I believe that God has restored him to this place for this time, for America and also for Israel, to protect Israel, divine protection for Israel. I hope this brings some understanding to you. I hope that this will help you in your future time of seeking the Lord for God to move on our nation. And I hope that you would trust God in all you do and believe God. Take a time and go back to my other video I put out on April 18th. It's called Donald Trump and the Prophetic Parallel for the 2024 election. Take some time and go back and listen to that. I believe you will see where God is moving on our behalf. God is moving upon the people of God's behalf. God bless you.